Hey everybody, Norm here, and I'm holding an incredibly beautiful Mary Kay Jazzmaster. And when I say Mary Kay, that's the blonde see-through finish with the ash body and gold parts. This is a very unusual guitar. It's a 1960 slab board, again with the hang tags, which I really love. I always like seeing stuff that has the original tags with it. Guitar's in beautiful shape, a couple little marks, but overall really good. And you know, a lot of the guys, you know, from Elvis Costello to a lot of the young bands, like the 1975, and just so many of the young bands now are really appreciating the Jazzmaster. This was really one of the top of the line guitars that Fender made. Their most popular models were the Stratocaster and the Telecaster. And for a lot of years, the Jazzmaster was kind of overlooked. But in this day and age, people are starting to recognize them. And they have the large pickup. It's a full scale length. And like the Jaguar, which is the other guitar that was very similar body-wise to this guitar, is a shorter scale length. And they don't sustain quite as well as the original Jazzmasters do. One thing that a lot of folks are doing these days is they're replacing these bridges with these either mastery bridges or other bridges that kind of hold the strings down. Sometimes just one of the things in the design of these guitars is if you play them real hard, they can pop out of the slots here. So these other bridges, which don't really modify the guitar, you can put the original bridge back on, hold the strings you know, in better so they, you know, don't pop out. And that's sort of been a, you know, kind of a manufacturing flaw on these guitars. But nothing quite sounds the same. And, you know, the early ones had clay dots on the neck. And this is a very dark rosewood board. Obviously the gold parts are really nice and beautiful and really makes the colors pop out. The tortoise guard really makes the white finish and the gold parts really stand out. And, you know, I just like to say that I was looking back at some of the playback, and I saw I was wearing this t-shirt, and the microphone was kind of hanging, and, you know, so for a lot of you internet guys who are going to say, well, that Norm, he's really a slob, or, you know, I'm not a clothes horse, never been accused of being one. A lot of people have said that I look like a horse. That's okay. You know, I mean, I can take it pretty good. But I just figured I'd just throw that in just for you guys who are going to go, oh, that Norm, he should have put on a different shirt or whatever. Well, you know what you guys can do. This guitar is a stunning example, and vintage values are based on the make, the model, the year, the condition, and originality. So guitars that have been modified will go for a lot less. Collectors, you know, don't necessarily want them, but you know, they're players, and we call them player grade guitars when things have been done and they're still very functional and they sound good and all that. But to a collector, they want them as tampered with as least as possible. And so this guitar hasn't been tampered with at all, other than strings being changed over the years. So it's just a fine example, and just something that people are beginning to really recognize, that the Jazzmaster is really a great model, and a lot of young groups are using them now. This particular guitar is $25,000. Again, you know, without the gold parts, it would be a lot less, but with the gold parts, it's very unusual. It was a 10% upgrade back in the day, but most people didn't bother going for that. Most people didn't want to pay that extra money, and you know, even though these guitars are only a few $100s, that extra $30 or $40 back in the day seemed like a lot of money, and it was kind of frill, so a lot of people just didn't necessarily do that. So the people that actually spent that extra money, it is really paid back in spades. You know, the people that have bought these guitars and they went for the more unusual colors and the gold parts and some of the cool stuff that was done at the factory. Again, if this was done aftermarket, it would be a lot less, but the fact that it was done at the factory, that's what gives it that added value. This is a guitar that I've actually had in my warehouse for the last 20 or 25 years. It's something that, you know, over the years, when I saw really great examples of a lot of things, I kind of stashed them because I just knew there's not going to be more of these things around. And it turned out to be a fantastic investment. One thing that's kind of cool about vintage instruments too is, you know, or vintage guitars, let's say, If you're dealing with synthesizers and things that involve technology, a synthesizer that's a year or two old is next to worthless because there's a new one out that does more things for less money. These guitars, a lot of the stuff that I didn't sell, for whatever reason, has gone way up in value. So it's been a very unusual business for me to be in, and because I love this stuff, I didn't want to sell it. And fortunately for me, a lot of the stuff really went way up in value.
This is a 1960 slab board Fender Jazzmaster Mary Kay appointments.